Welcome to Sunshine State of Mind. I'm Andy.
And I'm Shannon. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good too.
We should have bought a lottery ticket on Saturday night.
We should have.
We had a very, very fortunate...
We had a close call.
A close call. We almost got hung up in a really bad scene. We'll talk about that second half of the show.
Yeah.
We wanted to get that out of the way that we almost became part of a national news story on Saturday.
Was it national?
It was. It was on all the major networks.
Oh, wow.
I first started... We're talking...
not the kind of news you want to have.
We're talking about the Disney Skyliner incident, the brand new, if you have not heard. They had a little bit of an incident within their first week of opening. This is the gondola transportation system that they've added to kind of supplement the boats and buses and monorails and all that.
I wonder how many people were stuck on it because, I mean... Gosh.
At least a couple hundred.
Wow.
Each gondola was fitting. They say they can fit 10. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like when you're in it. It's 8.
When
tops.
we were in it, we had 2 families of 4, and it wasn't tight.
No,
but it wasn't.
I wouldn't want to put 2 more in there.
Yeah, I mean they would have to be little people.
Yeah, little,
like kids.
Little people.
If it was going to be like. I don't know, even remotely comfortable. Even that, I don't know if it would have been comfortable.
Yeah, 10 kids. We were in there with...
10 kids. Can you imagine 10 kids in one of those Skyliners?
And stuck?
It would be like swinging back and forth in the air.
It'd be fun for the kids. It wouldn't be fun if you were like a grown-up in there with them.
No.
Oh, man. So we'll get into
that.
We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. But before, we wanted to talk about what we did on Saturday a little bit and give you guys a cool thing to do if you're looking for to celebrate Halloween early already. This is something we did last year.
Yeah, and it was on Sunday, just for the record.
We did that on Sunday? We did that on Sunday. Yeah, something we did. We'll just say over the weekend.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, last year we did this, and we went to the Pickin Patch up in Dunnellon, Florida, and when we did it last year, it was like the final weekend that it was open, and we talked about it briefly on the podcast, and we said it was really, really cool, but it's closed now. And
did we only talk about it on the for a brief moment? I thought we talked about it quite a bit.
We did. I don't know. I don't remember how long we talked about it, but I do remember it being like the last weekend it was open.
Yeah.
And we
so
said,
people couldn't really get to it.
Yeah, it's over now, and.
Right.
Wait for it for next year. So we decided to do it again this year, and we're going to bring it up with a few weeks left because it runs until October 27th, and this is the Pickin Patch in Dunnellon, Florida.
Just really cannot say enough about this place.
It's really there's nothing else like it in Florida.
There really isn't
that I've ever been to or seen.
So you guys know I'm a native Floridian. So my whole life growing up, getting a pumpkin was either going to Publix and picking out your pumpkin or going to a local church or, community center or something like that.
You see a pile of them on the side of the road somewhere.
Exactly. They'd have a pile of pumpkins on the side of the road. They'd sprinkle a little bit of hay, to make it feel really, authentic.
Put up some skeletons and then cheesy decorations.
No skeletons. It's always like, a couple of bales of hay, some scarecrows, pumpkins, some sunflowers, and there's always like a photo op, in the church parking lot that, people can sit and pretend like they had this really great experience in Florida at a pumpkin patch, which they didn't because they're just in the parking lot of a church or a community center. So that was my pumpkin picking experience growing up. And I think it's probably most people's pumpkin picking experience in Florida because there just aren't very many pumpkin patches.
I don't know if there's any pumpkin patches outside of this one. There's probably a few.
There are
I feel like there's a lot of plosive happening right now. We're saying pumpkin patch.
There's a lot of pumpkins.
A lot of poppin' peas.
Sorry if that's true. Let me back up from the mic a little bit. But someone was saying that the pumpkin patch was like the only one in Florida where you could go and cut your own pumpkins or something like that.
Whenever I look for pumpkin patch in Florida, I'm always being brought to the place like you're talking about, just a field
like
where they're already cut and you grab one.
Like this place, you like get your wheelbarrow and you get your clippers and you walk out in the field of pumpkins where they're growing and you clip whichever one you like.
It's a huge place. It's really,
really big.
Really big. We spent a few hours there. We decided to kind of make this a tradition each year.
Yeah, they don't just have pumpkins to pick. It's not the only thing that they have to do there. They have this giant hay bale of hay.
Hey.
A hay bale of hay that they also put like wood and then like what looks like maybe a white plexiglass kind of material. I don't know.
For the hay, they call it a hay fort. The hay fort with slides.
Yeah, with slides, so that the kids can slide down these slides, and they're really slippery. And they, so is the hay. Actually, one of our friends, our adult friends, went down the slide and slipped right down the slide, and then she went and got up when she got to the bottom and then slipped on the hay and fell to the ground. So she was wearing cowboy boots too, which I think are kind of slippery on the bottom, but yeah, so they have this huge hay bale of slides that the kids can play on and have fun. We got an amazing photo of like our whole big group because we went with a big group of people.
We did. Last year we went another family told us about it. We decided, let's check it out. It's not a super short drive for here. About an hour and a half for us. Yeah, it's depending on where in the Florida you live, it may or maybe not be a really close drive. It's about 30 minutes east of Ocala, about 20 minutes off the interstate in Dunnellon.
Yes, Dunnellon. Yeah. And so we got a great picture of the whole group on top of this big hay bale stack. They also have a sunflower field where you can go and pick sunflowers, and I think it's $3 per sunflower.
$2.
$2 per sunflower.
I got their website right in front of me here.
And then they have a gourd patch, which is great because gourds are always fun, I think, I
don't know what you do with them other than just look at them on Thanksgiving and Halloween.
Exactly. Or you could eat them, I guess.
Does anyone eat gourds?
Yeah, of course.
I know pumpkin technically is a gourd.
Yeah. Isn't squash a gourd also?
I think so.
Yeah. So we have like a tradition at my office where we have like a pumpkin decorating contest, and it's like hardcore. Like they go all out with these pumpkins, and I don't mean like carving, like they're like painting them and creating designs and all kinds of amazing stuff.
Yeah, yours was awesome last year. I remember. Yours?
We did a Moana,
that's right,
pumpkin display, and the gourds are great because we created like this awesome hay out of
I remember gourd. That. Yep, because it looked like a chicken with a little thing.
Chicken, and with the ping pong ball, we used like a cut ping pong ball as his eyes like bulging out and stuff. It was really cute.
You still have a picture of that?
I do, actually. Okay. Yeah, we'll put it in here.
We will put it in right here if you're watching this on YouTube. Yep.
So we'll put the photo up. Make
Shannon's
sure you watch it.
Gourd decorating skills on a full display.
It wasn't just me. I was on a team, just for the record. I can't take all the credit, but yeah, it's super fun, and that's kind of like what I think most people do with the gourds is like they figure out some weird kind of way to display them and along with their pumpkins, Yeah. So gourds at this place, they have a field of gourds that are only $4 each, which I think is a great price because some of these gourds are giant. Like they're really
flat
big.
rate. I didn't see the price of the gourds.
Yeah, it was $4 each because I actually took a picture, and we'll put it in here as well on the YouTube version, but I took a picture of all the prices because they have like all the pumpkins displayed with the prices like written on the pumpkins, and the gourds had this big giant gourd there just had a 4 on it, so it was just $4. So yeah, it was so great. And then they also have a corn maze.
The corn maze is awesome. This is $5 a person, and
kids love the corn maze. The corn maze isn't $5 a person. Just the entrance fee into this whole place is $5 per person, and everything is included.
The corn maze, the hay ride, the hay fort we just mentioned earlier.
Yep.
There's live bluegrass music playing, so while you're out there, which is really the music makes a really cool atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So you're out there, and there's just music kind of playing around the background. You can hang out near them. No food. No.
They don't have any food. Yeah, they don't even have any food to sell.
No, which I think we were talking.
It's a missed opportunity.
That was a little bit of a miss because we did go get some lunch anyway.
Yeah, we were hungry. Like a lot of people in our group were hungry.
The first thing we did, we walked up there, and one of our buddies was like, "I really hope they have some like pumpkin beer here." And there's a sign that has all the rules, and it says no alcohol. And we're like, well, there's probably.
Well, they do have a watering hole. It's what they call a watering hole. And there you can buy, bottles of water, some Cokes and Sprites and stuff like that. And then apple juice for the kids. And they do take credit cards. That was the other really nice thing. They take debit and credit cards with one of those little swipey things. I forget what they're called. The squares, the little deal
that's plugged into the iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really great experience. They also have this really cool gourd what do you call it? Like an arch that you walk through, and you're walking through this arch of gourds growing on the arch, and they have a little tag that you can fill out that you can either put a prayer on. They say it's like a prayer patch or something like that, or the just write a message. We wrote something like, something about sunshine on our message.
Yes, we put an ad on ours, and we had to stick it out there.
Well, there was a message too, in addition to
guerrilla marketing for the podcast.
Yeah, so it was good. It was really, really fun.
Yep. Really cool spot. I know it is kind of out in the country a little bit, so you get to experience a little bit of rural Florida. It's about, like we said, about 30 minutes east of Ocala. But you know what's a really cool thing that we found is that Rainbow River State Park is right near there.
Yeah.
And this could make a really cool day trip to go out there. Rainbow River State Park, it's one of those, the Rainbow River in general is just super clear water. It's a spring. It's a spring. And there is a place that we ran into up there called, let me find the name of it again here.
Swampy's.
Well, Swampy's was the restaurant we went to, which we'll talk about Swampy's here.
Yeah, Swampy's was awesome.
We like to talk about little hidden gems, Florida hidden gems in restaurants, and this place was great. It's right in Dunnellon, just about 5 minutes away from this place.
It's on the Rainbow River, so
literally right on the river.
Yeah.
And we went in here, and we just never even heard of it. We were driving by and saw this, and decided to go check this out. Probably the most stereotypically Florida restaurant you could imagine. It's without being on the beach.
Yeah, but it was. I don't know, man. I loved it. It was like,
so I loved it. No, I mean that in the most positive way. I thought it was great. I loved it. So right on the water, it's outside.
Yeah, it was like rural Florida. Like the kind of when you're in the middle of the state, Florida, as opposed to beach.
It's
Florida.
not beach Florida. It's middle of the state, Florida, but it's on the water. Typical, bar food. Burgers, salads.
Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah, the gator bites were good. We got some of the gator bites, and I've had gator bites in the past where they're a little bit on the calamari-ish side for texture, but these were like good, tender.
That's good.
Gator bites. They were good.
Everyone really enjoyed their meal. My burger was overcooked, and so was our daughter's burger.
Yeah, the burgers,
so
they didn't do
I
great.
highly recommend not getting the burger, actually, because I had a bite of your wrap. It was really good. Everybody was really enjoying like the Philly cheese, and somebody else got the jambalaya, and someone else got the fish. A lot of people got a lot of different kinds of things. So everyone really enjoyed their dish. They just overcooked their burger. It was if you like a burnt burger, you would have loved this.
Well done.
Yeah.
I got I got something called the Houdat wrap, and it was basically jambalaya in a wrap. It was andouille and blackened.
They had like
chicken.
Po' boys.
Yeah. Gator po' boys, oyster po' boys,
shrimp. Yeah.
And it's right on the river, and you can watch people
tubing down the river
and kayaking right there. And there was this guy. I really liked the entertainment. There was this dude. He was a DJ drummer. I forget his name, but I read a video of it. And he was just kind of like doing like a long drum solo out there while we're hanging out and eating. But he was like incorporating music in, and he was like a DJ drummer. So while it wasn't just a straight up raw drum solo, he was just playing drums live while bringing in, mixing different music and beats, and it was really cool.
And it was totally family friendly too. Like we had kids from age, we had a 16-year-old there, 17-year-old, and we all had all the way down to a 6-month-old. So it was very family friendly. The kids all took off their shoes and stuck their feet in the water at the Rainbow River and just loved that. Everybody was. That's another thing about the Pickin Patch is that it's very dusty. Like I can't begin to describe how dusty it is. So do not wear flip-flops. Do not wear sandals. You should really wear tennis shoes or boots or something like that. Hiking boots.
And if you're a pollen allergy person, there was a lot of pollen there too.
And hay, like a lot of people are allergic to hay. There's tons of hay.
I noticed I had pollen all over my camera lens from when I was walking around in those sunflowers.
Well, and one of our friends, their daughter has a lot of allergies, and what they actually did, because she did come, she would like wipe her, like she didn't climb on the hay bales or anything, and then the hay ride, in the middle of the hayride, they have like a wooden bench, so you don't have to sit on hay. You could sit on the wooden bench part. So, and then anytime she like kind of came in contact with hay, she would wipe her down, and she said that she fared pretty well throughout the whole event. So it's not, if your kids are, you know, battling that a little bit, if you're careful, you might be able to, you know, do it if if you just put into some precautions kind of thing.
And what I wanted to mention earlier, right up the street from all this place, the Rainbow River State Park.
Yes.
There is a place right near Swampy's called Aquatic Wilderness Adventures, and what they will do is they'll take you in a van once a day. You got to be there.
Van down by the river.
A van down by the river, where where they told me I was going to live one day. A wise man once said.
Okay.
They'll take you up to Rainbow River State Park in a van. I think you need to be there I think it's about 1:00 in the afternoon. So I think it's only once a day they take you up there.
Okay.
For $15, they'll drive you up to the park. They'll give you a tube. And then it's a 4-hour just lazy river float back down to the pickup point. So you're out there for 4 hours on the river, and it's crystal clear blue water.
Yeah, it's a spring, so the water's pretty cold.
Water's cold, and that'll keep like alligators away and things like that. But there's a lot of fish.
Hopefully.
Probably, maybe some manatees if you're lucky. We saw some people not catching fish, but like feeding the fish right off the side of a dock there.
We also saw one really genius guy who had a kayak hooked to like a little boat motor.
Yeah, he had a little trolling motor. That was kayak.
Trolling motor, that's what they're called. And it was so funny because he's like going and you now own a kayak with paddles, you're like, dude, you've got it set up right. Something about how like,
I said paddling is for suckers. Paddling is for suckers. He's like, yep.
And then the kids go, but Dad, you paddle your kayak.
I know. I go, I'm a sucker.
It was really funny.
Well, the current was pretty swift. So when you do this thing, you want to take the van up, and you just kind of follow the current back to the pickup point, which I guess they say takes about 4 hours. We saw people out there with like coolers floating in the water.
Yeah, they were doing it right.
Yeah, you can bring your own food, bring your own coolers, bring your own beverages, and just float on down for 4 hours. So
I think we're gonna have to do that because it looked really fun.
We saw people doing it while we were sitting at Swampy's, and there was a lot of people coming down there.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Immediately we said, "Hey, that's the next like trip we're going to plan to do with our group."
Every minute or two, I would say there was a new group of tubes coming down the river.
And when I looked it up, I thought, well, it's about an hour and a half from us, depending on where you're at in Florida. It might be 5 minutes away from you guys, but I thought for $15 for a 4-hour adventure, that's super,
not too bad.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah.
They also do rent kayaks there. I looked it up. They rent kayaks, stand-up paddle boards.
Do they rent trolling motors?
I did not see the trolling motors. I think that guy was rocking his own trolling motor.
He was an entrepreneur.
He was a local. He looked like a local too.
There's one other thing I just wanted to mention about the pumpkin patch that we were talking about earlier, that this place does not have bathrooms, like legit bathrooms. It's an important thing to know. They have porta potties, which, some people are fine with that. I'm not. I mean, men get away with porta potties a lot easier than women do, I have to say. But so I would recommend that you go to the bathroom before you get there, and I highly recommend that.
And your options are fairly limited when you get close. I mean, there was a few.
Yeah, I mean, you could stop at Swampy's, I guess.
You go to Swampy's or something. It's just when you're getting closer.
Yeah, it's
keep
getting
an eye
more
on
rural.
That.
Yeah, it definitely is. But it was such a great day. We had a really fun time with our friends. We got a couple of great pumpkins. We did the hayride. That was really fun.
And we were able, while we were sitting at Swampy's, all just kind of hanging out and having a beer, we kind of planned our next outing that we're going to try to do in 2 weeks with the same group.
Yeah.
Last year before Halloween, in the run up to Halloween, we did an episode where we talked about some of the best haunted attractions all over Florida.
Yep.
One of them is called Screamageddon. This is about 40 minutes north of Tampa in the town called Dade City. They bill themselves as one of Florida's best, if not one of the best haunted attractions in the state.
Right.
It's several haunted houses. It's kind of like Halloween Horror Nights, but without the theme park. Just a bunch of haunted houses together.
Yep.
We talked about doing that in a couple weeks with everybody.
Yeah, that'll be
fun.
So
I can't wait to go do that and talk about that on the show.
Without the kids.
It's probably not a kid-friendly event for that one. So
well, I looked at their website actually today, and It says that kids are welcome.
They're welcome, but how welcome are they gonna?
But that
how well are they gonna do?
Well, they say on the website the kids are welcome, but even like babes in arms have to pay the full price, and it's not inexpensive. You know, I mean, depending on the day you go, it could be anywhere from $20 to $40 to get into this place.
I think the closer it gets to Halloween and weekends,
it's more expensive.
And one of our buddies says they have an option where they can give you a glow stick to wear around your neck.
Oh, right.
And it tells all the people working in there, all the scare actors, that you signed up to just let them manhandle you a little bit and push you around and push you into certain rooms and separate you from the group. And
yeah, no thanks.
So he said it's not extra to do that. I mean, maybe it is, but he says it wasn't. He said just, sign up for the extra scare experience.
No, thank you.
Wear the glow stick and
no, thank you.
Get waterboarded or something by some random stranger in Dade City.
Oy vey.
All right.
Anywho.
So let's talk about our trip to Disney over the weekend and our Skyliner experience. Before we do that, though, I'd like to thank everybody who has been clicking through the Amazon link on our website.
Yes.
A good way to support the show here is you come to our website. It's sunshinestatepodcast.com. And on the right side, there is a link to Amazon there. And if you go there and you click through and you buy something, Amazon throws us a few. Am I banging the table around?
The table a little bit.
I'm excited about this.
I know.
The Amazon throws us a couple pennies for anything you purchase. It doesn't cost you guys any more. It's just like a little.
Yeah, no, it doesn't cost you anything.
It's an affiliate commission.
They just give a little bit to the show, and it's the same price for you. So we really appreciate it if you could do that.
Yeah, I've noticed it's been busy lately. A few people have been.
And thank you to everyone who's been doing it. So it helps a lot.
Christmas is coming. Just hint, hint.
That's right.
Click through there and
just click through our website.
If you guys like the show, that's a great way to say thank you. So
Saturday
we went out we planned a Disney trip, and we were completely intending on making the Skyliner
the feature,
the focus of this. We were going to ride the Skyliner, shoot some video, take some pictures, ride it a little bit, and we did all that.
We did.
And we were going to come back here and make that like the focus of the show, like the review.
Which we're doing.
And we're going to do. We'll talk about what we thought of it.
Right.
But I don't want to bury the lead too much because we got there in the late afternoon. We tend to get out there as season pass holder Florida residents later because it's not as hot and we'll stay into the evening.
Yep.
We got out there about 3:00-ish. We had a fast pass planned for Tower of Terror right around that time.
Right. Yeah, we booked that on the way out. So
on the way out there, we got to the park and we decided to not do it for whatever reason.
Well, once we got there, I'll tell you why we decided not to do it. Once we got there and saw the Skyliner, we were like, dude, I want to do that.
Right. It looks fun.
Like we've ridden Tower of Terror 8 million times. We've never ridden the Skyliner. It's right here in the parking lot, Let's just go do that. And that's what we ended up doing. We just got on the Skyliner because it looked so fun and cool.
Well, we did. We threw our fast pass back into the.
Oh yeah. We were considerate.
Yeah,
with our
do
fast
that.
passes.
You don't want to. That's good karma because every now and then you'll be looking for that fast pass and boom, the one you want will turn up. So
absolutely,
if you don't use them, throw them back into the pool. So we threw it back into the pool. We got in line for the Skyliner. We rode it. Our plan was to ride it from Hollywood to Epcot.
And the line moved really fast.
It did. It looked fairly long.
It did look a little bit long. And the line coming back later that night looked really long. But again, moved really fast.
It looked about on par with the way the monorail line looks when you come out. It's got, maybe
the first
100
one
people there.
The first one, I think, looked like that. But the second one, when we were on our way back from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, that one was like curved around, like it was all within, like there was lines going back and forth inside the Skyliner station, but then it came out down the ramp and then it curved around like down the road a little bit. Remember?
It did, but because it's a continuously moving thing.
Yeah, it moves really fast.
You're always getting on. It's not like the boat or the monorail where you have to wait and then they let 100 people on and then they go and then you wait and they let 100 people on. This is a constantly moving thing.
Yeah, so the line is constantly moving. So it makes it feel like your wait is not as bad because you always feel like you're making progress.
Right. You're constantly going. Yeah. And there isn't the fast pass line to slow everybody else up. So we
know how you feel about the fast pass.
I want to do a whole episode about how much fast pass, how much my unpopular opinion about Fast Pass. But
I don't think it's unpopular. I think a lot of people feel that way.
So we get on the thing and we rode it over to Epcot, which there is a little transfer station in the middle, but it was really efficiently done. Like you get off, you hop on a new one.
The signage is great because it tells you exactly where you want to go. Like if you're going to Epcot, go this way. If you're going to, Pop Century, go this way.
Go that way.
Yeah.
Yep. So we get in there and it was not a super, super hot floor today, but it was maybe the high 80s. I know everyone's been kind of concerned that it's going to be really hot on these things. That's been because there's not air conditioning. As long as you're moving, the airflow is really good, I think.
I think that as long as you're moving, it's perfectly lovely in there.
Yeah,
because the breeze is very strong in there.
And though it's not just like a screen door.
Although I will say that remember what we were on one line and it was so breezy and nice and we were like, this is great. And then we got on a different line that was it was heading in a different direction. You remember this?
Yeah, I do.
And then the wind just died.
Well, the vents were kind of not aimed in the right direction. Were the vents on the other side?
I think the vents were fine. I think the vents were how they were supposed to be. But it's just like some of it has to do with the wind too. Like if the wind is really. I mean, there was still a little bit of a breeze, but it wasn't nearly as much as the first one. Like the first time, my hair was like blowing.
When you're moving, you're moving into the wind. It's I think around 11 miles an hour. I read. And the vents are aimed down in such a way so that it's blowing right in
on
you.
Yeah.
And you got a pretty good breeze. It's not uncomfortable at all. It's actually really nice in there as long as it's moving.
Nice, yeah. As soon as we stopped though,
it got a little warm. And then so let's talk about the stop. So the night of, should we jump ahead to the big news, or you want to talk about the rest of it?
Well, I mean, yeah. I think we've already, kind of led with the big reveal here is that
everybody knows. Most people know.
Yeah, basically the Skyliner crashed.
Yeah, around 5 p.m. that night.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. that night. Sorry.
Okay. You scared me for a second.
Sorry. October 5th. I was looking at a 5 in front of me here. It was Saturday, October 5th, around 8 p.m. It came to a sudden stop. Apparently, now when this happened, there was a lot of like speculation going around. Somebody said that the power was out. Someone said like a sensor went bad. Somebody said that one of them like slid off the line and crashed or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's some pictures out there you can see of like a whole bunch of yellow ones kind of crammed together.
Yeah.
With like a turquoise looking one sort of up against it. What it sounds like what happened here is they were taking off and the turquoise one just didn't go. Like it came off the line or something like that. Like it's instead of, I guess it.
Oh, wait. So it was as they were taking off, not as they were landing?
That's what I'm gathering from what I've read here.
Oh, okay.
As it was taking off, there wasn't like, it doesn't sound like it was a dramatic crash. Nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. There was some damage. I guess one of them broke, the glass broke. But as they were taking off, the blue one just didn't go. Like the ones behind it were coming, and the turquoise one didn't
go.
Didn't go. It didn't keep going up. I'm trying to like figure out what happened. And then the next yellow one bumped into it, and the next yellow one bumped into that, and bumped into that. Right. And then they just sort of created a log jam. They had to shut it down.
Kind of like one of those desk, toys.
Oh yeah, just the
tuck,
tuck,
tuck, ding, ding. Yeah,
just like that. And they had to shut it down. And long story short, or short story long here, they had to shut this thing down for 3 hours. I heard from 3 to 4 hours people were stuck on this, and it's only been open a week,
and it's not open anymore,
and it's closed indefinitely while they investigate the problem. But only being open a week, and you've got something like this is kind of a worst case scenario PR nightmare.
It's a big PR nightmare. But the really amazing thing to me is we spent, most of our time that day at Epcot.
We went to Epcot. We did a little food and wine stuff.
We had a great time. We did some food and wine stuff. We got a few yummy things. We got the steakhouse burger
from the Flame Place. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
From the Flame.
It's right in front of like the
Flavors from the Fire.
The land. Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It was good.
It was like a mushroom steak burger, and like it the steak burger, and it had like a garlic aioli on it or something like that, maybe truffle oil, but it was good. But the mushrooms kind of left me with a weird aftertaste.
It was beef mixed with mushroom.
Yeah.
So
there was no mushroom on it.
No.
And then it
was
had
like ground into it.
It had a chip on it, which was kind of cool. It actually added something to it. Anyway, so that was good. The kids had a like a chocolate ganache waffle.
From a Belgian waffle, I think.
Yeah, they thoroughly enjoyed. And then we rode a few rides. We were gonna go ahead and leave, and
they were getting hungry, so they
were, because they ate their waffle like right when we got there.
And we had food earlier.
We'd been there for several hours.
And it was coming up around on about 7:30 at this time, maybe a little bit before 7.
Yeah, probably before that, like 7:15.
7:15, 7:30, and the kids said, "Can we get some food here on the way out?" And we were. It's Epcot Food and Wine. Anything you get for them, even though they're hungry, is just going to be a little snack. And we said,
well, our son is so picky that there's nothing we could get for him that he would like. So we'd only be buying it for our daughter. And
we were looking. We're like, if we see something on the way out, we're doing the parent thing. We're kind of like,
we'll see.
We're saying we'll see, and we're kind of like trying to run out the clock here. And we're gonna walk back to the Skyliner. So we get on the Skyliner right around 7:30ish.
And we didn't end up stopping. Thank goodness.
And this is because right around 8 o'clock is we rode the Skyliner back perfectly fine.
And our son took a video, actually. He did like this time-lapse video. And we can show a little bit of it here on the YouTube video, but it's very dark. It's just a lot of lights.
That's the thing, because he was shooting a time-lapse video.
Yeah, that's how we knew what time we were on.
And I said, hey, that's I don't know if that's going to come out because it's just kind of dark out there. He goes, yeah, but there's some lights out here. And I looked at it. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then I remembered the next day, so we rode the Skyliner. We got home, and perfectly uneventful ride back in the dark.
Got home, went to bed.
Right. You went to bed. I stayed up to watch the Rays game a little bit, and I see a little message pop up on my phone, like some news that said Skyliner broke down. People stranded on it for
we literally were just on
3 to 4 hours, and we got on it about 7:30, 7:20, maybe got off around 7:45. Because you saw...
Our son finished filming that first video at 7:42.
Okay, he finished filming at 7:42.
Yeah, so...
And that was
on the previous line.
Right, that was on the Epcot 2.
So we had a whole other line that we rode. Mm-hmm. So we probably honestly did not get off that Skyliner until like 7:55, I would guess.
So we missed being hung up in this thing by...
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Unbelievable.
And we got home, had no idea anything happened until I'm
totally
sitting here
clueless.
watching the Rays game, and then I see...
Well, and you the next morning, because I went home and went to bed, the next morning, you're like, so the Skyliner crashed last night. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Like, no, it did.
You're like, I swear.
You wake up, I'm like, we should have bought a lottery ticket last night because the Skyliner had an incident.
I did not believe you at first. I was like, yeah, whatever.
They were closed for 3 to 4 hours or trying to get people off. And I guess they had to medically evacuate a couple people.
Yeah. And I saw a Twitter video that, and we posted it actually on our Twitter if you want to see it, on the Sunshine State podcast Twitter, of like a cherry picker getting people off of one of the Skyliners. From
my understanding, they did that for certain people that had like medical
problems. Yeah.
A lot of people just had to kind of wait.
I tell you what, if I was up there, I'd be like, I have a medical problem.
Right? I really gotta pee. Yeah, that's my medical. That's a medical problem.
We talked about that. Like, there's so many times that we have said, I got to go to the bathroom, but I can hold it until we get here.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine if you did that.
Imagine if you did that. If you said, I can hold it till we get to the next transfer station or the next, until we get to Hollywood Studios. And then 3 hours later, you're still on the Skyliner.
Brutal.
Oh my gosh.
Brutal.
And they have like emergency kits underneath the...
Yeah, I was wondering what those were. We got on and you see this little briefcase thing underneath the seat. And I kind of assumed it was like an emergency kit.
Right. It has water in it.
Yeah,
their glow stick.
They're famous now because a lot of people posted pictures all over.
Water,
social
glow
media.
Stick, like a vomit bag, I guess.
I heard vomit bag. I also heard like a human waste disposal. So I guess if you really have to go and you're not afraid of sharing that moment with strangers.
That's the thing. We were in a Skyliner with a whole other family.
Yeah.
So can everyone turn around, please, while I go to the bathroom in this bag, and then we'll hold the bag here in the Skyliner.
I guess by 3-4 hours later, you're pretty good friends.
I guess.
Well, the group, the first leg of that trip coming back, we got paired up with a family from Mississippi.
Yeah, they were real nice.
And they were really cool. And we actually kind of had a little conversation with them few minutes on the way, and I felt like we kind of knew them a little bit after that.
Yeah, you do. You
short trip.
Get to know them. It's kind of like on the Hogwarts Express when you're in at Universal and you're taking the train. Like, you don't always get that your train passage compartment by yourself. So, you're talking to the other people with you and chatting. Like, the monorail is different because, like,
the monorail is like
you don't ever talk to people.
No,
on the
it's like riding the subway.
Yeah,
everybody's just kind of
talks to each other,
or riding an elevator. Everyone's just kind of trying to avoid eye contact.
But like, this is like, I feel like the Hogwarts Express is different, and this was different too, because it's just you and one other, couple or one other family.
Well, also it was new and nobody had ridden it yet, so everybody was kind of like
talking about,
oh, this is really neat. And honestly, I thought it was great.
I loved it
when it worked.
It worked entirely for us.
It got us around quick, and it was a fun way to go.
It was quick. The lines weren't long. It was kind of fun. It was comfortable. It was breezy. Really great views from the Skyliner. I loved every minute of it, and this would be a completely positive review and a complete recommendation.
It's a positive review from our point of view, because for us, we thought we had no problem,
except that it's broken now.
And we don't know when it's coming back.
Right. So hopefully they'll figure out whatever that problem is that they're having, and that won't be a problem anymore. But if this becomes a regular thing, I would never ride it again.
Well, here's the thing. These exist other places. I mean, a gondola system. We rode one up a mountain in Switzerland. I mean, that would be the worst place in the world to get stuck, because they can't get you.
Yeah,
up there.
You'd be really stuck.
Yeah, and there are other places.
You have to rely on a mountain goat.
Total bad luck that this happened within the first week of high-profile event. It's opening week. It breaks down, becomes all over the news. If this had happened a year or two from now, it might be like an afterthought or a little blip in the news. Oh, the Skyliner had an issue, and okay, nobody forgot. But this is gonna be one of those things that sticks with people for a while. But here's the thing: you and me, we pay a lot more close attention to this type of news, and we go to Disney and we wrote it intentionally. The first week. I follow a lot of Disney Twitter accounts and Disney blogs, and not just. So
you're thinking most people won't know about it?
I think that the general public might have seen something about it, and then it just gets lost in all the rest of the news. Yeah.
By the time I get there in 6 months, they'll have it all figured out. It'll be fine.
Because and
they probably will.
There's theme park. Like, people get stuck on theme park rides all the time. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I think I read a story about, I guess within the first couple weeks of Tower of Terror opening, people got stuck on that for about 90 minutes. So
oof.
I read a story about some roller coaster at Six Flags Park last year that people got stranded on for 2 hours. And it's
tough.
in the news, and then it
goes away.
It goes away, and then eventually, as long as it keeps working, people will probably forgive and forget. But the first week, man, that's brutal.
Tough. I will say, though, I just will have to reiterate, it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. I loved everything about it. It would be my go-to transportation at Disney from here on out.
I'll go once they figure it out. I'm not going to be like afraid of going on it, because
I agree.
I have this theory about, like, when restaurants get shut down for health department stuff.
We have a different theory.
We have a different theory on this. If it's a restaurant I don't care about, never been, whatever. They got shut down by the health department. I'm never gonna go again, probably, because I never would have gone the first time. But I feel like
if it's a regular restaurant,
if it's a place I like and they get shut down, I'm really disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. But then when they reopen, I'm like, you know what? That place will never be cleaner than it is right now. This is the time to go.
Yeah.
And now I feel like once they fix it, it probably will be as efficient as it's ever been.
I hope so.
Until it breaks down again, and then I get made to look like an idiot.
I don't necessarily believe that about restaurants like you do. I think it's really sweet that you believe that.
I guess, are you saying I'm naive and I just...
But, yeah. I have some personal experiences, that have permanently scarred me in some ways. It's best, honestly, just to never know.
Sausage and laws are one of those things they say it's best to never know how it's made.
Never know how it's made. So
how would you, if you had to do PR for Disney and you were dealing with this? Yeah. Is this a nightmare, or is this one of those things where you do your best to get the word out that yes, we're trying to fix it, and
that's kind of the thing, is like
hope people forget,
make sure that people are and they've done a pretty good job of this, make sure people are aware of what you did to try to fix it for those people that had to deal with that,
and they gave everybody
they
were good to
the the victims.
Yeah, anybody who got stuck, they gave everybody a one day park hopper and $100 Disney gift certificate if you got stuck. The one-day park hopper isn't that useful if you're a season ticket holder, though.
I disagree, though. We've had this conversation, and we'll have it again for everyone else. But I disagree because two things you can do with those. You can
give it to a friend
park
or
hoppers.
family member.
You can give it to friends and family, and then go have a Disney day with them with your pass holder.
True.
With your
pass. You can invite somebody to.
You can invite someone to go with you.
And you got $100 to spend lots of money at a good restaurant.
$100 each. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's $400 for our family.
And we started thinking about this. Okay, hang on now. Had we, everyone went to the bathroom. No one has to go to the bathroom.
No one had to go to the bathroom.
No one's
Everybody had fully charged phones.
A fully charged phone, and no one's hungry. Would it be worth it to get stuck up there for 3 hours? I'm kind of on team. Yeah, now you can't prepare for it.
$400 for 3 hours? Yeah, that's worth it.
No, it's as long as you're not like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom.
That's $133.33 per hour.
And the ticket itself is well over. What's a park hopper? $120?
Yeah, something like that.
So the park hopper plus the $100 gift card.
So the other thing I was going to say too, that is if you don't want to give it to a friend, or don't have a friend that you want to go to Disney with, your pass is going to expire.
And you can,
so
you can
use it then. Use it in a year from now or whatever.
In that gap period, if you don't want to renew.
Right. So, anywho, like you said, if I had gone to the bathroom and if I wasn't hungry and if I had a fully charged phone, I would probably sign up for that.
You can watch Netflix up there for 3 hours.
Yeah, because it was a pretty good. But
you don't know it's
consolation prize.
The problem is you didn't know it was going to happen. It's just a random
there's no
surprise.
way to prepare.
Yeah, you can't prepare. And I've heard they kept on playing the whole like be patient while
that's annoying.
Yeah, we are temporary delayed.
But then they had real announcements that told them what was happening.
They told everyone to break open the emergency pack if you need it. They had the water and the glow stick. The glow stick's kind of a weird thing.
I feel like they should have given everyone like a heads up. This is gonna be a while.
I hope they would have.
Please be patient. We should be moving shortly.
Get into that waste disposal
3
bag
hours
if you have
later.
to.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the pencil and paper that was on there?
Get into that waste disposal bag.
You could be really good friends with your neighbors.
What about the pen and paper?
There was a pencil and notepad in there. I'm wondering what that's for.
So my theory was like to.
I had two theories on this.
Okay, what's your theory?
If you need to send a message down below and you can't hey, we got someone up here with a problem, I guess you could yell or you can write it down and throw it to someone below.
But how? How do you throw it below?
Maybe slide it through the little crack in the door. Is there a crack in the door?
I don't think
so.
I don't think so.
That's my, maybe not so. I'm not so strong on that one.
Yeah.
My second theory was maybe to play games. You're stuck in there for an hour or two, and can we play?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cheap way to give somebody something to do.
You could doodle. You could play games. Maybe throw a deck of cards in there for the next time this happens.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah, and poker chips and.
You know what? Actually, one of those phone charger things would be a good idea to put in there.
But the only problem with that is though that they lose their charge.
True.
So you'd have to have a phone charger that. Had a plug in.
I wonder if they could put a plug in there. I mean, they can't put one in there now. They'd have to renovate every single car.
Yeah.
But there's no air conditioning in there, but there is power because there's a speaker in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So there is power. If they could have a phone charger in there, just in case.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Or a solar charger. Well, there's not enough sun.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of sun in Florida.
Well, they're dark. There's the tinted windows. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random.
Yeah, I don't know.
Random suggestions for Disney's next.
I feel bad for the people that got caught, but
it's really lucky.
I can't believe we missed it by 5 minutes.
They're just really lucky that this happened. They're not lucky that it happened at all. It's bad luck that it happened, especially during the first week. But it could have been worse that this happened in midday sun, mid-August, midday sun. This happened in early October at night, so it was not that hot out. It was, it was a pleasant night. So if it was midday sun in the middle of July, August, and this happened, babies, older people, it's like trapping a kid in a hot car.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a greenhouse.
I mean, they are tinted and there is windows, but
but
it's not that cool. It did get warmer when it stopped.
It did, for sure. Yeah.
So,
well, we hope everyone's okay that got stuck.
Yeah, there was no injuries. A couple people had to be medically evacuated, but I haven't heard anything.
I think there was minor, a couple people were taken to the hospital, but it was minor stuff.
Yeah, maybe precautionary stuff.
Yeah,
insurance related.
So
CYA.
But hopefully everyone's doing okay, and Disney's working on the problem so that it can get back up and running and won't have these issues in the future.
Because I've heard there's already rumors and talk that they're going to expand this. To connect some of the other parks and hotels, and based on our personal experience, not the people who were on it 5 minutes after us, based on our personal experience, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I thought it was great. But I wasn't hung up in there for 3 hours either. So
true.
I'm offering probably the very positive review of the thing.
Right.
So
anyway,
maybe I'd still give a positive review if I got $400 worth of stuff out of it, because my family of 4 got trapped in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Could take y'all to Le Cellier for at Epcot next time.
Like you said, if you had a fully charged phone and had just gone to the bathroom.
Then maybe my opinion would be okay.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you like this podcast, please support us by giving us a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing us with your friends and family. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, or pretty much anywhere you download a podcast. Another more direct way you can support the show is by visiting our website, sunshinestatepodcast.com, and clicking through on the button that says Become a Patron. It's a safe and secure way you can support the show, and there are different levels, some of which will give you bonus content and even qualify you as an advertiser on the show. There's also an Amazon link on our webpage. If you click through on that link and just make your normal purchases, Amazon gives a commission to the show at no cost to you. You can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Our handle is @FloridaPodcast, or search Sunshine State of Mind on YouTube. And be sure to check out our website at sunshinestatepodcast.com. We'll see you next time.